Alright guys, these are the answers to your average rate of change homework from last Thursday. So go ahead and just check these real quick. If you have questions, we'll talk about it on Wednesday when I see you again. So the answer to number 1 should have been 3. The answer to number 2 should have been -2. The answer to number 3 should have been -3. The answer to number 4 should have been x plus 1. And the answer to number 5 should have been 3x plus 1. Second part of your homework, the answer to number 6 should have been 2. The answer to number 7 should have been 2x plus h plus 2. Number 8 should have been 6. And number 9 should have been 4x plus 2h. So again, if you've got questions, star them, do something with them to where you will know what I'm talking or what you need to ask me about on Wednesday. At this point in time, you should have all gotten a copy of the notes from the substitute. That copy of notes is 2 pages. It is a front, back, and then a front. So today we're going to go ahead and start talking about continuity. I'm going to go ahead and check the video to make sure I'm zoomed in enough. Alright, that looks pretty good. Alright, so continuity is talking about how continuous a function is. And when we talk about being continuous, that means that it's this nice smooth curve, there's no weird bends in it that look like a V, there's no breaks in it, there's no jumps, there's no skips, nothing along those lines. So, in order for a function to be continuous at a certain value, the function value, so that's like if you were looking at a graph, that's the closed circle, and the limit, so left, right, whatever you've had to do to find that actual limit, the function value and that limit have to be the same. So if your limit does not exist because your left-hand limit and your right-hand limit don't match up, then you can obviously say it's not continuous at that point because the limit does not exist. But this value, the function value, and the limit at that specific x value, so if x is 2, then c is 2, those two have to line up. They have to match, they have to be the exact same number. So, the conditions that must be met for continuity at x equals c, there's 3 parts that you have to prove. And you have to do every single step for every single one, otherwise you have not completed the proof. Now, the great thing about this is that if you get to a part and that part does not work, then that means you're done, the proof failed, it's not continuous. So, f of x must exist. That is the very first thing, which means there must be a solid dot at x equals c. So the first thing you have to prove is that there actually is a function value at that point. So we don't go for the limit first, we go for the function value first. Because as we've seen in a few of our examples recently, we've got a lot where we can find a limit, but they're both open circles, so there's not actually a function value. So we look for the function value first. The second thing we do is prove that the limit exists. So we're going to either use substitution, so, and by substitution, I mean the stuff we did the very first day, where you're just plugging in the c value and seeing if it works, and if you get a 0 over 0, you factor, simplify, do something to get it to be where you need it to be. So you're going to either use substitution, or check that the limit as x approaches c from the left of the function is equal to the limit as x approaches c from the right of the function. So you're either using substitution or you're checking that the left matches the right. And if they do not match, it does not work. So if this doesn't make sense, you got to make sure the left hand equals the right hand. Okay. The last piece is if this happens, and it works, and then that happens, and that works, you compare the two. So does the value part one equal part two. So if you get 2 for this one, 2 for this one, yes, you got 2 for both answers, so therefore it is continuous at that point. If you got 1 for this one but 3 for that one, that doesn't work. They're not continuous because you got 2 different values, so that means there's a break in your graph and there's a separate point somewhere else. So I'll give you guys about a minute or so to get that copied down, and write down whatever questions you might have for me when I get back.